This is where the fairies live.
Coming at you live as Little Mama Safari today.
So it's raining, but we're still gonna give you guys the boat tour we promised. Subscribe!
Jay refers to this as my hobbit hole, as the same as the lazarettes and every small space he puts me in.
There's money on the bar, so come on down over!
Hi, my name is Kenna, and this is Jay. We live aboard our Cheoy Lee Offshore 41. Her name is Sitka. Currently, we are sailing and exploring our beautiful home here on Vancouver Island in British Columbia, Canada. I'm new to sailing, but I'm learning and loving it more and more each day. Jay, on the other hand, was born a salty sailor. As he takes me under his wing to get ready to sail around the world, join us on our adventure of falling in love with the beauty of life and the wonders of each other. Welcome to the story of us, and welcome to Sailing Sitka.
Welcome to beautiful, rainy Victoria. That's right. If anybody lives in this area, you know it's been the worst spring ever. Anyway, so it's raining, but we're still gonna give you guys the boat tour we promised. So this is the bow of Sitka, so we're starting at the front. So we have a profile roller furler with a 130% Genoa from North Sail. It's both things are brand new, this furler and the sail. We also upgraded to a 55-pound Rockna. We also just upgraded to a Mantis swivel. We got our Tigris low fan windlass. So when we just put these new pedals in, so that's going down. And that is going up, so we don't need to break our backs anymore. We also have a manual override on here, so you just put a handle in case the electrical side of things goes berserk on you and doesn't work. You can use those. The boat used to be covered in teak decks. I removed all of that. We still need to remove this part at some point. Going aft, we have our dinghy bush tit that just sits upside down on top of the V-berth hatch. And on this side, we store extra water, extra diesel, and extra gas for the outboard, as well as our spinnaker pole, an extra anchor, which used to be the main anchor, which is a CQR, and extra fenders. This will change a little bit when we do go offshore. And if we walk aft a bit, we have our spinnaker pole halyard, which can actually installed at the top of the mast on a new block. We then come to our main mast, which is made out of Sitka spruce, as well as our mizzen. That's our next project. They need to be stripped and varnished. All the running rigging the running rigging is all brand new. And the standing rigging is only 7 years old, and it's never been pushed hard, and it's oversized for the boat, so that should be good. One good thing about this boat is the fact that it has a lot of natural ventilation. So we have these dorade boxes. So the way it works is there's two positions. There's the inshore position, which is what this one would be, and this is the offshore position, meaning there's a baffle here with drain holes down here. So if a wave was to come in here, water would hit that baffle and then end up draining through the hole and only allowing air to go down in the boat and not the actual water, which is good. And we have 3 of those, 2 in the main living area and 1 in our head. That's the aft one. And if we go to the starboard side of the deck, we have various deck fills along the side. So this is where we fill our main water tank. Over here is where we pump out our wastewater, and also where we put fuel, well, diesel for this. We have a little diesel Dickinson heater, which has its own actual dedicated tank, so that's where we fill that up from. Our mainsail is under this cover. It's also a brand new North Sail mainsail with 3 loose-footed with 3 reef points. I've also added this running rigging here, so everything is labeled, everything's good, color-coded, so it makes it easy. This is a new setup I've installed as well for the main sheet, so the boom is completely controlled on either side. Like you see, there's it's gonna be hard to tell right now because it's kind of rainy, and bush tit is over 2 of the hatches, but there's a lot of natural ventilation on this boat because we have 8 portholes on either side, as well as 4 big hatches. So they're all this size. 3 of them are this size, and the V-berth has an even bigger one. So these are 26 by 26, I believe. If you walk further aft, we have our new tracks. we have this custom Dodger that I've built in 2020. I started building it in 2020 and we just finalized this, and you can go check that out in our other previous episodes. We have a 100-watt flexible solar panel that we just finished installing, and we also have a 300-watt solar panel, both of which are installed to their own independent MPPT charge controllers. So basically we have two completely independent systems, so that gives us a good redundancy. So I've had that problem on my previous boat where our panel shit the bed and then we had no way of charging our batteries offshore, and that was not bueno. Arigato. So this area has gotten a lot of work. So basically when I built this Dodger, I ended up pretty much destroying the cockpit because I turned this into a workshop. And I knew in doing so that I was going to have to repaint and do all this stuff, so I didn't bother taping things up because I knew we were going to have to take main sheet tracks out and anything. So anyways, welcome to the new cockpit. So as you can see, we have brand new cushions that Kenna did an amazing job on, and that's in one of our previous episodes, so go check that out. This used to be, so down here you see a lower ledge here, so this used to extend all the way to here on either side, and that's where the main track used to reside for the mainsail. So we took that off, filled that up, fiberglassed that, sanded everything, painted it, added non-skid. That's all in previous episodes, so make sure to go check that out if you want to see the process. We added extra thick hinges on here, so this opens, put a nice gasket on there, so everything's really solid, beefed up everything fiberglass wise. We also added these preventing walls basically, so to keep things organized in the on top here, because there used to be winches here and cleats that we no longer need, so we just fiberglassed that, these beams in on either side, painted them, put non-skid. We also varnished everything in the cockpit apart from this door because we're going to be replacing that, but everything else that's staying has been varnished, including the bottom part of this mizzen mast, but we need to do the top part. Other things in here, we have a manual bilge pump that's brand new. I mean, it's 2 years old. Another cool feature of this Dodger is the fact that on either side we can collect rainwater. So I put these tubes in, and then we can just block this with a sponge, clean it off, and then this goes right into a jerry can, and we can collect rainwater when we're offshore, which is quite nice. So right now would be the perfect time. Just aft here, so this is a propane box that I built in 2020. So I fiberglassed some beams on there and then custom built this box, and then in it we have propane tanks, and also the fuel for our dinghy, and it has drain holes, so it just drains right off the boat. We also have our stern nav light, which we're going to have to change locations because now we have our beautiful friend Wilfred, our hydrovane that we just installed, and that's also in a previous episode. Another thing that we've put on is this outboard lift, so that makes our life a lot easier because I used to have to use the mizzen boom, but that wasn't really a controlled way of doing it, and I used to have a 6 horsepower, but now we have a used 15 horsepower 2-stroke engine for a bush or dinghy, so this makes life a lot easier. So we built this custom outboard mount for it, and now we have this sturdy lift. Other things back here, we have 2 barbecues, both of which only half of them work, one burn on each side, so we need to fix that. There's always something to fix. This bar here, which is quite solid, at first my idea with that was I was going to have the main sheet was going to come to here and then down inside, but the angles didn't really work out with the solar panels, so we have this really overbuilt bars now, which is perfect for, you know, keeping those muscles active at sea, and we might use them for future mounting GPS antennas and whatnot when we become really cool and fancy, but we don't have the budget for that right now. So this is the view you get in the cockpit. You can see, like, you get a good 360 view of everything. Another really cool thing about this part, I'll give you my version, a POV point of view here. So there's another window up here, so you can actually sleep in the cockpit and actually see the stars, which is quite nice, and you can see the trim of your sails from sitting down in the cockpit, so that's quite cool. And now let's walk down below.
Now that we're out of the rain, we're gonna get all cozy and show you the interior. Welcome to the interior of Sitka. I'm coming at you live as Little Mama Safari today. I'm going to be showing you Sitka. So if you come to our starboard side here, this is our cabin. So this is my prized possession because it was my first big boat project I worked on with Jay. So what we did here is this hull, we sanded down 5 beams with kerf cut plywood. And we then put in some Armoflex insulation in between these, which has been a game changer. It's pretty expensive, but it's amazing. And then over top, we put some cedar planks and varnished the crap out of them, and it's been working wonders. And here we have our bed, which consists of foam here, which I believe is 3 inches here on the bottom. And then we also have memory foam on top. So it's super comfortable. And underneath these foams here, we also have planks because unlike a normal bed frame in a house, we don't really have any air ventilation. So this is our system for when we get super hot at night.
And we also insulated under here. So here is just like normal gym mats, but underneath there's actually like pink insulation that you would normally have in a house. And the reason why is because under here, this is below the waterline. Under here, it's just storage, but it's not heated. So you would get cold air here and warm air from our bodies, and then that would condensate, and then you'd get moldy foam. And now we have all brand new foam. We've never had this problem again. So another part of this cabin is this locker here is our battery compartment, but we store a lot of stuff behind our door. So, but trust me, there's batteries in there. We have a 12-volt fan here. We included 12-volt LED light everywhere, which is quite nice.
We also have our locker here as well for our clothing.
Yeah, so that's one of our 2 lockers for clothes, which is shelving. And then right here is an ensuite door to the head, but I canceled that out because it goes right into where we shower, and it takes 1 second to go on the opposite side. And then this is a cool piece of art that I lashed in place instead. We also have a full standing mirror that's like 6'5" tall. So, and we have one of the hatches here. It's got a cover, or else in the morning it's quite bright in here. We also have a nice big port here and an opening port that views the cockpit. So if Kenna ever needs me on deck, she can just yell at me.
I'll yell, Big Daddy Safari.
That's right.
And over here we have our quarter berth, and we did the exact same process as I explained for our cabin as well. So same thing with the insulation. And
you can go check that out in a episode that we will link at somewhere. Episode number 2, where we show the process where we built and insulated this cabin. Another thing we've done here is we've built this box, which acts as 2 things. So it's a shoe box, so when you come in, you can sit here, take your shoes off, and put your shoes away. And then the aft part of it is actually where I keep most of my power tools. So a lot of my power tools are down here, and like it goes deep. It goes under that where the electrical panel is, because there's quite a bit of storage space here. And then under this bed here, there's more storage for power tools here and extra spare parts. And then on this side here, under these charts, is the fridge compressor. So this is where that stuff hides. So we have our 2 MPPT charge controllers. So one for the 300 watt panel, one for the 100 watt. We have our battery monitor here, one of them. We have a fire extinguisher. We have the brain for our Raymond linear drive autopilot, which is a below deck one. We have our AC panel, and we have our DC panel. This panel is quite ugly, but it's all done to spec. I'm not a fan of these that the old owner did. I'm gonna drill some holes and put those in the panel properly, but for now they're there. This is a new 12-volt panel that I installed, and I put this little wall here because people kept, when they slept in here, they kept bumping these switches, so I built this little frame here to prevent that from happening. But this is going to be a great sea berth. One thing we're going to add is a leak cloth here, so the person who sleeps here is going to stay in. We also added 12-volt lights everywhere, and they're just a little remote, and the actual sensors in here, so you just close them like that. Obviously here we have the companionway going down inside the boat. On this side here, we had leftover Armaflex, so we insulated this whole locker, and it used to be only a hanging locker, but we built this custom shelving unit here. So we both have a big shelf, and then down here is just like dry bags and stuff to store, and then we have quite a bit of actual hanging space still. So it was a better use of the space than just a hanging locker. And there's a lot of electrical in here for our new bilge pump setup that we've added. So we have multiple bilge pumps and alarms, and we also have a video covering all that, so you can go check that out if you're interested. We also have another big port here that's leaking. That's why you see paper towels. We need to replace this port. So there's a leak up in the corner here, and it walks down here, and it's full of epoxy. So anyways, we're gonna replace that port. Here is the nav station. So these are quite old, but they're monitors that monitor our wind instrument at the top of the mast and our depth here. And we have repeaters in the actual cockpit, so we can see that when we're at the helm. Down here, we have a little table that unclips here, and you can sit here and fold it down. And we actually have a mounted chart plotter here, a standard horizon that's connected to our VHF up here. And so we can see AIS, and then we have another chart plotter that actually goes at the helm. If you follow me forward, we're going into the head to starboard. So it's not the biggest head for like a 41-foot modern boat, but this, I mean, is for a 1976 boat. I love it. It's beautiful. It does its purpose really well. So it's a wet head. We shower here, both of us, every day. So basically this comes out like here and goes on here. And there's a pump down here, and it just pumps the water away. You take these towels off, and this folds around, and you got a shower. We have a Raritan marine head, which is a manual head. So it just connected to the seawater, so that's salt water coming in, and then you just flush it out. So if people were wondering how we do that, that's how we do it. We put paper in the actual garbage can on the boat. One thing I just added last week is I added these little fiddles here so that things don't fall out at sea, and then we'll put a little bungee cord here so that we don't need to secure for sea all the time. Everything's always going to be constantly secured. And then we have a bunch of storage here, like these little lockers where we keep various toiletries, vitamins, so forth. Little mirror here. And this locker is not something, I mean, the contents of it are not something that you would normally find in a bathroom, but this is all our fiberglass and varnish locker with sandpaper, gas masks, epoxy, everything that you need for fiberglass or sanding and varnishing is all in this locker. So that's quite nice because we use that a lot. And then
the galley. So we spend a lot of time in here cooking and preparing meals. So a big thing with Sitka is we have a side opening fridge. So it's a lot of room in here, and it keeps things very, very cold. It's super easy to reach some foods instead of a top opening fridge, which we do have for a freezer as well.
yeah.
And so we also have our propane stove over here as well, which is gimbaled. So at sea, it keeps everything balanced for when we're cooking. And it opens up for our oven, which is a lot of room for my specialty is baking. So that's what I use it for.
Banana bread.
Yes, lots of banana bread. Yeah, and so back here, this is a bunch of storage. So this is where we keep a lot of sauces, cans, anything you can think of like that. Oatmeal, peanut butter, salt, pepper. I could keep going, but yeah, just lots of storage back here. So it's very roomy. This is what our cupboard would be like. So it just opens from the top as well. And yeah, so lots of passes, crackers, rice, more sauces, more cans. There's so much storage.
It goes literally all the way down to the ground, so it's quite big. And then we have a little tea and coffee area here where we keep our glasses as well.
Yeah.
There's also room here for plates, bowls, cups, a little fan to dry the dishes.
And here we have our cutlery, as well as a scary drawer of mixed utensils. And then
There's nothing scary about that drawer.
messy.
Oh yeah, it is scary in there. Watch out. It bites.
And more storage down here for Tupperware, and a little hidden one here for pans and
Yeah, the big heavy cast iron pans.
yes,
And then here is where we keep our
garbage cleaning supplies.
garbage can, cleaning supplies, all that's good stuff. And then if we walk here, this is where we keep our other pots and pans, shredders for cheese, and in here, shredders for cheese, whatever that is. And we shred cheese on here. And in here is all our chemicals that we use on the boat. So PB blaster, paint, carb cleaner, all these things are right here. So they're all organized. Welcome to Tech Talk with a Big Daddy Safari. You know it's serious when I got my shades on. All right, so this is for the boat nerds out there. So we've opened up all the floorboards. So this is Sitka's bilge area, engine room, plumbing area, electrical space. So anyways, let's get started. So forward here, we have our compression post for the main mast, which goes all the way down to the keel. This is our main water tank, so you can see the plumbing coming out of it. This looks like water, but it's not. It's epoxy because this used to be leaking. We still have some plumbing jobs to do on board because I want to replace all the old school plumbing like this. This is just a drain for the fridge. This is our main water pump. Our water tank's about to be empty right now, but this is what gives us water here. We have hot and cold. Our hot water tank is actually behind here. And like I said, our water tank is running low, so that's why you heard the pump cycling. It shouldn't be like that, so we need to fill our tanks. So that's our sign usually. So that's one thing of living on board. When your tanks, the water doesn't go for infinity, so we need to fill them once in a while. The next pump you see here, the Well Gulper 220, that's our shower pump. So when we shower in the head over here, water accumulates down under the grate, and then I install this pump with a nice little switch here. And then that pumps water through that pump outside the boat. And then if we move aft, this is our main engine, which is a 56 horsepower Yanmar. It was brand new in 2015. It only has, at this point, it only has just over 400 hours. 350 of those are me that put it on it, and 50 hours were the previous owner. So it's basically a new engine, which is awesome. If we move further aft, we have our dual Raycor fuel filters here. So these are the primary filters. So this is the fuel tank down here. So fuel gets pumped through the fuel pump on the engine, goes through this filter at the moment, and then travels through and goes to the secondary filter, which is the one mounted on the engine, and then goes to the actual injectors. Now, if ever we clogged one of these filters at sea, which can happen if we're in rough seas and there's sediments at the bottom or bio growth in the bottom of the tank and it gets stirred up and fouls this main filter, all we got to do is come down, switch this to here. This bypasses this filter and then instead uses this one, and then we can just change the filter on this one. So it's a good system to have a double Raycor setup like this. And then on here we have our bilge pump setup that you would have seen in a previous episode. If you haven't, I encourage you guys to go check that out. So we have 3 different bilge pumps all in this area. If you're curious about our setup, you can go see that on our channel. We also have here a gearbox cooler. And if you come down here, we just have where the shaft goes through the outside of the boat, through a shaft seal there, which uses a bit of grease that's down here. And this is our access to our fuel tank. We do have an actual deck fill, which is that black tube that you see here. This is just a way so we can put a dipstick in it and actually figure out how much fuel we actually have in the tank. You can see some plumbing hose, electrical, and all that going aft here. And if we open this part here, see just more plumbing, exhaust, old plumbing here that's not in use anymore. But we need to get rid of it because it's just extra weight that does nothing on the boat. That's pretty much it for the bilge area in the boat. Now we're in the main salon area, so we have a Dickinson fireplace here that I told you about, and behind this door is here. Actually, I'll show you guys. You know what? You guys have been good You've been good. You've been good today, so we'll show you in here. All right. Oh, what did I find there? I honestly forgot.
Oh my god, that is classic. That's actually hilarious.
That's hilarious. Okay. So behind here, there's a lot of stuff, but this is our black water tank down here. And behind all this, there's actually a small diesel tank that feeds this diesel heater. And then we have all the spare parts for our engine or diesel are in here. So filters, impellers, alternator belts, you name it, we got it. We got it in here. We also got tools, spare oil, spare coolant. Everything for the main engine is in this bad boy. Obviously, we have this little dehumidifier. Actually, I'm going to turn it off so you can hear me better. We're not going to bring this offshore, but for living aboard in the Pacific Northwest where we get snow sometimes and it gets quite cold in the winter, it is a game changer.
My sewing machine.
Yeah, the 1969 Beast.
If you haven't already, I have a sewing video as well that if you guys want to check out, I sewed our cockpit cushions, so you can also go watch that.
So we don't have actually wired in speakers on Sitka, and I'm kind of happy about that. But I did purchase like this boombox, JBL boombox, and I love music. We both do, and this is like amazing. So I actually got 2 of them over the time. But anyways, continuing on, more storage. All electrical is in this drawer, and there's the same drawer behind that other speaker there, which is also all electrical stuff. Then we have this door here that has literally all our hand tools. So you saw where all our power tools were, but this is all hand tools. They're all labeled. What's in each bin is all labeled. So in a panic, people can actually come and find out what I'm kind of asking for when shit hits the fan, you know?
AKA me.
Continuing on, we have a lot of storage. This is like all rigging parts. So everything for blocks, extra whipping twine, also a little bit of, there's oil for the 2-stroke engine. There's a bit of like, it's kind of a bit of a random locker, but we have a list on board that literally says where everything is in each compartment. Rigging twine, electric tape, and metal rigging twine. I use this almost every day on the boat, so that's always there ready to go. We also have wood plugs ready to go in case there's a flood right here. This is a torch that we use for when we're doing rope work. Little book area, little library. I also have like these hooks that I through bolted on either side, and for coastal, these strings actually do a good job of keeping everything in place. But when we're going to go offshore, we're going to have nets on either side, and that's the same on the port side as well. Under these cushions, there's a little bit of storage, but not that much, because there's actually an extra water tank on Sitka that's here that not all the offshore 41s have. So there's a little bit of storage down there that we normally use for extra food. Then we have this table here, which actually folds up to make a quite big table. And one of the really cool features of this is, as you can see, there's locking pins here that you can just unscrew, and then this table will come down and sit on this slip here and turn itself into a giant bed. And we actually like sitting here and just watching movies. It's kind of a cool spot. Continuing here, we have more storage on either side. We just store like some camera gear in here. And yeah, just a very basic locker, some fishing gear. On this side of the house, we have all our documents for Sitka, all paperwork for every system. We store a couple things on there, as you can see. We got Sitka's official plaque that I quite like. We got their bell. That means there's money on the bar, so come on down over. We're gonna have a beer. There's our nice trusty oil lamp that we quite like. And then I'll let Kenna show you the V-berth, as it's a bit small in there as we're using it for storage.
Jay refers to this as my hobbit hole, as the same as the lazarettes and every small space he puts me in. So I always go up forward here to get things such as toilet paper and paper towel and, you know, ginger beer, because we have ginger beer on the floor because it's cold in here. This is mostly just our storage locker.
Yeah, snowboards are really useful at sea. When the wind goes over 30 knots, you have to take the storm jib down and you actually lash the snowboard up on the forestay, and that's how you hove to, people.
So
follow us for more how-to videos.
This is also known as Wilfred's cabin.
It is Wilfred's cabin, which is our wind vane.
Yeah.
So Wilfred's head is down
Wilfred's
up here,
sleeps up there.
and then Wilfred's legs, aka the rudder's down there.
Right,
and look at this brand new bridle I made. We're gonna have a whole anchoring setup video coming probably next week, I think.
Soon. But yeah, so this is mostly just a storage locker.
There's also a huge hatch.
Yes, we have a massive hatch up here. Bush tit is covering it at the moment though. So, but normally it carries a lot of light that comes through, and I like to come in here and read.
She does come in here and read. Yeah, and up forward is our anchor locker, so through that little hobbit door. So this is where the fairies live. So let's knock first, because sometimes they sleep. Alyssa! Alyssa! We're coming in! So, there's Alyssa. Oh yeah, she's red. She's not happy. Bye-bye.
Also something to note too here is we have a blank that comes down with a cushion, so it actually comes down right here and fits perfectly, and it actually makes this into like a double V-berth bed.
Yeah, it turns into a huge V-berth, and then you don't have to see my tiny ass calves. Another great thing here is that this is where we store these cushions. So like we told you guys about that table going down, and this is where these cushions are. So these cushions go on top of the actual table in the galley, on the salon, and it makes a giant bed.
There's not much room to film in here.
No, there's not much. It's actually a bigger cabin than it looks, but it is quite small to film in.
Any last words, Big Daddy Safari?
I love this boat.
Little Mama Safari also loves this boat. I think I'm going to stick with that. That's kind of cool.
Little Mama Safari and Big Daddy Safari.
Makes sense. Thanks for watching our interior and exterior boat tour today, you guys.
Yeah, and let us know in the comments if you want to see a more detailed tour. Like, I can go on forever about certain systems. I think we're going to break it down, or else it would be like a 50-minute episode and we would bore most people out. But yeah, this is like a quick tour of Sitka, because we've had a lot of people asking us to do one. So we just wanted to give a general idea of what it looks like inside, like a walkthrough, like a complete walkthrough without too many cuts, like so a real life, kind of tour. So I hope you guys enjoyed it, and we hope to see you next week on Sunday, because now we're doing Sunday mornings.
Sunday Fun Day.
So that's right, Sunday Fun Day. You wake up, you start that coffee machine, you sit down with a nice little cup of mojo, and you watch Big Daddy and Little Mama Safari. Aww. Woo! Let's go!
Like and comment, you guys. Thank
we love you.
Bye.
You can see Rosa Bonita only die.
I hated that.
You hate that?
Yes.
Honey.
What?
Canada's Got Talent. Watch out. I'm coming for you. Big Daddy Safari's coming.